Hey everybody, Ditkaz here, and I'm finally bringing you my Spring 2025 anime rankings video. I'm already working through the summer season, which I'm a little over halfway through now. I think I've finished 12 shows as of the time I'm recording this video, out of 22 on my list, if I remember correctly. So I'm working on pushing those. Hopefully I'm going to have my spring theme rankings out here soon. Spring theme tier list, I should say, and my summer rankings not long after that, to just kind of keep the videos pumping out here as I keep working on pushing on getting caught up on all of this content and all these videos. That being said, let's just jump right into these rankings, starting at the bottom of the list like we always do. At number 16, we have Summer Pockets. I'm not really a huge fan of this show at this point. I do think the characters look good and the animation is good, but the show fails to really keep me invested in the characters right now. I don't really think this is helped by the fact that this particular show has like 3 different storylines in this core. Like it resets the summer after like his summer vacation is over. It starts back at the beginning and it tells the story from a different love interest for the main character. There's like 3 different ones they have in this part, and I just don't think it really works for me personally. I also don't think it helps that none of these stories end up as happy endings for the main character himself. Like they're all kind of sad in their way, where like the first 2, it's like there's no chance of there actually being a relationship with these girls he falls in love with, because the one isn't even a real person. It's like a bear that has like become a person and taken on the form of a person that disappeared like decades prior. And the other one is a girl astral projecting who was in a coma in Finland or something, and she's showing up on this island. I don't know, it's weird. Then there's a third one where like there's the possibility of it, but who knows? It's probably going to end up resetting more. I mean, I'm not going to say it's probably. I did already watch the second core of this already because I'm partway through the summer, but I'm saving my thoughts for the summer portion of this for the summer rankings video. I do also think like the fact that all of these stories individually have this like supernatural element to them that just feels odd, and it's not really like the best implementation, which I already kind of went over the first couple. The third one is like about these butterflies that hold memories of people that seemingly all of them had like regrets, I guess. I don't know, some of them might have been good, but it has memories of different people, and like you touch them and you get their memories, and you have to end up going to sleep to process them. And the one girl's like trying to get her sister's memories, has been in a coma, and she ends up in a coma. It's a mess. Not a big fan of this show. I wasn't looking forward to the second core, but like I said, we'll talk more about that in the summer rankings video. At number 15, we have Bye Bye Earth Season 2. I know when the first season of this show came out, I talked about how weird it was with like it being very musically inclined, and like I really wasn't happy with the ending of the first season. And I really feel like the second season didn't do anything to improve the series, in my opinion. This season never really excited me. I was actually kind of like, when I realized that I was going to have to watch this in this season as well, I was kind of like, damn it, like it's just another show that left a bad taste in my mouth that I now feel I have to continue. I literally just felt obligated to finish this show. It has some cool action sequences. I still think there's a lot of cool potential with a lot of things they could have done with this show, but the way it went was just kind of weird. The fact that it ended up playing out that Belle is like a human who was in stasis because she kind of got jettisoned out of a spaceship after humans kind of ruined Earth, and I think she's on the moon that somehow was terraformed, and there's like all kinds of robots because there's like what they called the machine god. It's like this supercomputer, and it had a theme park, and like she woke up, she played in this theme park, and these animatronics were like semi sentient, it seemed like. And whenever she basically was sad and wanted to leave, they forced her back into stasis. This machine thing, forced evolution, turned these animatronics into actual people that would get born. And then that ends up being why everything is so musically oriented, and like there's scripts, and it's just a weird story choice in my opinion. Then they have the end of the series where she like kills the machine god and kind of sets all these people free from these scripts. And then she stays on this planet, like I said, I think is technically the moon. I'm not sure. And she goes on to find the other gods of this world to deal with them. That's like where the show ends. Again, this show just felt really messy to me and very unfulfilling at the very end. Not a big fan of it. Kind of glad that there's not going to be more of it, at least from my understanding, there's not going to be more of it. Maybe if they did, maybe it could be more interesting in the future. I don't know. Not a big fan of this series either. Where are you at, Kat? You want to leave? No, okay. At number 14, we have The Beginning After the End. There's been a lot of hate for this show online after it was hyped up a whole lot, because I know the webtoon or whatever is like super, super popular. I haven't read it, so I had no real basis, no bias towards this show one way or another going into it. And with that, I actually really enjoyed the show. I think there's some points in the show where the animation feels a little bit lazy, but with nothing to really compare it to personally. I think the character designs looked good. I thought the story was pretty interesting, and it wasn't bad in my opinion. At times, I think the pacing can be a bit strange, especially like it kind of feels like it ends on a strange point. Like it doesn't seem like a point where you would normally end a series. But I am pretty sure that a second season has already been confirmed. I didn't look it up to make sure that I was correct, but if I remember correctly, I saw where that was confirmed to be on the way. So we'll see if things go smoother in the future. Maybe their animation budget gets a little bit better. I don't know. We'll see. I'm looking forward to seeing more of it. I did overall enjoy this series. But again, 2025 has had a lot of pretty good shows, so it's been some tough competition amongst some of these series in the different seasons. At number 13, we have Please Put Them On Takamine-san. I've actually read a decent amount of this manga, and where I last read it, it's been quite a while at this point, but from what I remember, where I left off is still ahead of where this season of the anime ended. I enjoy this series, and not just because it has a whole lot of fan service, which is pretty well done, in my opinion, the fan service is, as it should be, seeing as this series is by an author that was originally a hentai doujin artist, so you would assume that they'd be able to draw fan servicey, nude type scenes pretty well. But I also just think it's pretty funny, and it can be really wholesome at times, and like the whole backing story and things they've hinted at, but they haven't they haven't hinted at, they've shown it, but haven't fully confirmed anything yet. Even where I'm at, it hasn't been something where the female lead hasn't come clean about everything yet. I like where the story seems to be going based on the manga. I'm pretty excited for it. I do think the animation in this show isn't the best, and it's certainly not the most original in all of its themes and storytelling, but it's a simple and enjoyable show that I do like. At number 12, we have I'm the Evil Lord of an Intergalactic Empire. I think this is a very funny isekai series that's kind of a nice change of pace, since most isekai series are fantasy-based, whereas this show is very much sci-fi, obviously. The whole concept of the main character being reincarnated by this evil god for the sole purpose of feasting on his misery and negative emotions in this new life that he set him up into, just to be thwarted by what currently, until proven otherwise, is the spirit of the main character's dog that died when he was younger, and was one of the few bright spots from his original life. That dog seems to stop everything and causes things to go positively for the main character all the time. The dog basically makes everything work out positively. I just think it's really, really funny. I think it's hilarious seeing this god's reaction to it's supposed to be negative emotions, and it's I hate gratitude. I laughed every time. I think the characters so far have been great, and if there's more seasons in the future, I'd like to see where some of them that haven't had a whole lot of screen time get more time and get to really develop more. I don't know if there's going to be another season in the future. I'll definitely watch it if there is, though. At number 11, we have I left my A-rank party to help my former students reach the dungeon depths, and this is Core 2, as it was originally in the winter season. I still really like this show, even if the ending of the season, the full season, actually made me really sad. But the season was it was really strong for shows. So this second core ended up kind of lower in the second half of my list, just for this season, because again, just a really strong season of anime. All the good things for this show are still there, even if it took until the very end to bring back Jamie into the mix. Like, they made it to where her time being on suspension of being an adventurer, they used what was a pretty easy way of getting around that to get her back to being allowed to adventure sooner. Some of the stuff they also had in there was a little bit strange in execution in the second half, but I still enjoyed it, and I am looking forward to the next season that I'm pretty sure I already saw a confirmation of a second season. We'll see if maybe it can do something to kind of get around the things at the end of the first season that was really sad for me with the character that they kind of have disappear at the end. At number 10, we have the Shiunji Family Children. This was a pretty solid harem rom-com series that I'm hoping gets more seasons, since I haven't seen any kind of confirmation on it one way or the other yet. I think all of the characters are very well fleshed out and distinct, which makes sense since the whole premise is that this huge family of 7 siblings all find out that they were all actually adopted, and that only 2 of them are blood related to each other. At least until the very end of the season, where the dad mentions that there was a second set of real siblings amongst them. But it's not revealed exactly who those 2 are. Of course, that's just one more reason why I want to see more seasons of this show, because I want to know who that second set is, and to see if my current guess for who those matching sibling sets is correct or not. And we'll go from there. Hopefully there's more of this. I did really enjoy this show. It's fun. It's got good animation, some good music. Hopefully we get more of it. At number 9, we have My Hero Academia Vigilantes. I'm a big MHA fan, even if I'm behind on it, despite both the manga and the anime now being finished already. So I was really excited to see Vigilantes animated. I don't feel that it disappointed at all, and it's been really cool seeing this group of characters in motion, telling a story that I'm still familiar with, as it'll still be a little bit before the series gets past the point that I've read in the Vigilantes manga. I'll definitely be watching the second core here soon once I get to the season that it aired, which I believe was the winter 2026 season. I don't think it was fall. We'll see, though. I still have to actually figure out what my watch list is going to be for the fall 2025 season. At number 8, we have Teogonia. I really wasn't sure exactly what all this show was about just from the trailer that I watched whenever I put it on my list, but I was really impressed with the whole premise and setting of the show once I started watching this series. I think it's cool how much like the Weakest Tamer series, this show is actually an isekai series, but that isekai factor doesn't really impact the story a whole lot. In this particular show, all it really does is, it does play a little bit bigger role than Weakest Tamer, but all it really does is that he acknowledges memory, the main character acknowledges memories from a past life, and some of those memories he kind of uses to kind of influence and kind of do magic that other people can't do, because he kind of has this scientific knowledge that he doesn't understand how he knows, but he does, and it works to do things. I'm really hoping for more seasons of this series in the future, because it really feels like where it left off, things were kind of just starting to get really good, scratching just the bare surface of where this story could really go. I think there's a lot of potential for this series, so hopefully we get more seasons in the future. At number 7, we have The Brilliant Healer's New Life in the Shadows. I'm pretty sure I just recently saw this show has a second season confirmed to be on the way, and I'm pretty pumped about it. I enjoyed some of these recent fantasy series with overpowered healer characters a lot, especially the ones that are I guess the overpowered healing characters. They're all pretty much they're strong all-around fighters, and all of the supporting characters in this show have been really cool as well. I feel like this show is just really well animated. I think it's got itself set up for interesting stories going forward to just kind of keep delivering that. So assuming that I'm not misremembering, which I'm pretty sure I saw another confirmation in between, when I wrote this script and now recording it, definitely looking forward to more of this. Like this show a lot. At number 6, we have The Too Perfect Saint Tossed Aside by My Fiance and Sold to Another Kingdom. This is another one of those series that I really figured I would like, partially because my best friend recommended it to me very highly, and it ended up actually being even better than I expected. I think it's a very interesting story, seeing how the original country that the main character was from just completely takes her for granted, and all of her abilities. But she doesn't seem to realize that they're treating her that way. She thinks it's just how it's supposed to be. And like she doesn't know any better until she goes to this new country and sees just how much better she's treated and how much they like respect what she does for them. And they feel like she's like doing too much at times. At times, this series has a little bit of a simpler art style, but the backgrounds are like pretty beautiful. They look like paintings in a lot of cases. And I think everything is animated well enough. It's definitely the characters and story that elevate this series, though. I especially loved seeing the main character's little sister, who turns out is actually her cousin. I loved seeing her reaction after the main character gets like sold off, and how once she finds out more of this information, she decides that she's going to get revenge on everybody that wronged her sister. Normally in situations like this, I feel like characters in this situation are actually two-faced and don't actually care about their sibling above like a surface level where they're trying to make it seem like it. So seeing her not actively trying to work against the main character and actually trying to like help her out and get revenge for her, I thought was like really refreshing to see that genuine care for that sibling, because it's kind of not the common practice in a series like this, I feel like. At number 5, we have Fire Force Season 3. Fire Force just continues to be an absolutely stellar series as it rapidly accelerates towards its finish. I was a bit annoyed with how Burns so quickly decided to just side with the White Clad, using his faith as this like weird basis to like make that make sense. Like that's more important than protecting these people that you've spent your life trying to protect from fires like this. But the fight against him and the way that whole conflict went down was just really, really cool. And then just kind of him going out the way he did sucked, but still, it was really well animated. I also think it was interesting seeing more of the White Clad, like the destroyers and all that, and I'm definitely interested to see who ends up being the one to take down Dragon and how that whole thing goes. As we come to the end of it, I know I've seen like some spoilers here and there, but I've avoided most of it. I know like I'm pretty sure it's done now actually, but I can't wait to see from my end how it goes once I get to that point. At number 4, we have Witch Watch. I thought the show looked really cute and seemed like the kind of series that I would enjoy, and I was definitely not wrong. But it was actually, again, a bit better than I expected. It's actually got a decently serious backstory, even if most of the series so far has been like very lighthearted and comedic, other than like the last couple episodes of the first core of it. But the characters and their interactions are all great. The animations are good, and the show's been really well paced in my opinion too, at least in the first half. I'm really looking forward to watching that second core here soon as I finish, basically once I get to the point in the summer season, then I'm going to start watching that show, which it'll be here it'll be one of the next few series that I watch here in the next couple days. At number 3, we have Mobile Suit Gundam G-Quux. In my opinion, this show is no Witch from Mercury, but this is still another really, really well done Gundam series. I think the animations are great, the characters are interesting, and the new Gundam designs are super, super cool. This alternate timeline story was incredible to me as well. I was really surprised with the reveal that Lala had actually just been making new realities to try to save Char, and that's how they ended up landing on this timeline, with him choosing to pilot and take the Gundam instead of just seeing it and like it ending up with Amuro. And then after noting like the design change, like I saw from like the first time they showed it, I'm like, that's not what like the Granddaddy Gundam looked like originally. Like when they saw how they changed the design of the RX 78-2 early in the show, seeing that original design of the Granddaddy Gundam come through the portal near the end of the show and like that like next to last episode or whatever it was one of the most hype moments I've seen in anime recently. I was 100% locked in that moment. Only thing I really could have asked for would have been more episodes with these characters if they could have really made it work and make sense, but they told the story very well in the episode count that they chose to go with in this series. At number 2, we have Can a Boy-Girl Friendship Survive? I figured I'd enjoy this show, but it ended up being even more enjoyable than I thought by like a long shot. I'm always glad to see a romance or rom-com show actually have a resolution to the characters' relationships instead of just always having it like ending the series with that relationship up in limbo with like a will they, won't they, are they going to admit it, whatever. who's going to end up with who. Honestly, with this series, I would have been happy with the main character ending up with either of the two main heroines of the story as well. I also felt like this show progressed very well and was incredibly well paced for its, like, I think it was 12 or 13, I don't know if it was 12 or 13 episode run. This was one of the first shows that I actually watched of this season. And at number 1, we have Windbreaker Season 2. I was super pumped for this show's return and actually saved it for last on my watch list since I was binging shows from like beginning to end because of just how far behind I am on everything. Although I think some of the fights in the first season were a little more intricate in their like animation and stuff, I'm going to chalk that up to the first season having a bunch more like 1v1 fights, right? While this season consisted mostly of like a couple of huge group brawls where like you have a lot more things going on in the background. You can't really like, you weren't focusing on two dudes just going at it, fighting each other, you know, so you kind of had to like spread the animation out a little bit more. You couldn't put as much intricate detail in those motions all the time. But the fights were still awesome in this. The story still continues to get interesting, like more and more as it goes on, and I'm really looking forward to see where things go with the new characters they've introduced, and what will eventually happen when these new characters come to blows with the boys from Bofurien. And that's my rankings of the shows I watched from the spring 2025 season. We actually did have one show that didn't air on Crunchyroll this season, with the Gundam series that aired on Prime, actually. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out. As always, be sure to let me know in the comments what you think of this ranking, if there are any shows you think I missed out on this season, any shows that maybe should have been lower or higher, whatever there. And look forward to more videos soon as I keep trying to push through all this stuff. And once I get all caught up on all the shows I'm watching and all the videos being released, I will be back to also streaming games on Twitch at twitch.tv/Ditkaz. Thanks as always, everybody, and have a great day.